I might have cramp, but I love Jaffa cakes. Mmm. Oh! How do you process a lifetime of anxiety? Quit your job and go for an adventure. See you later! My name's Sam. I've got a rare genetic kidney disease called Alport syndrome. It causes hearing loss, eye abnormalities and kidney failure.
We can see that your kidney function is deteriorating quite fast.
Against all the odds, I've decided to try and cycle 10,000 kilometres around Europe to raise money for charity. Join me on my journey from off-road mountain biker to conscious living, skydiving, wild camping, bike touring, don't know what the hell I'm doing but starting to get the hang of it, I think, adventurer. If you'd like to help me out, hit the subscribe button in the bottom right corner. I'll really appreciate it. Also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Scrap the Mask, and if you want to find out more about the campaign, click the link in the description. Let's go.
I want to do it on my own.
In last week's episode, I travelled to Madrid to learn how to skydive. Long distance cycling isn't really my forte, so join me in this episode as I attempt to ride from London to Brighton with zero training. This is not really the route I expected to come. Go! My interest in riding bikes started from an early age. Apparently, I pulled the stabilisers off the nursery bike when I was 3 years old. It then evolved from jumping off planks of wood on a stack of bricks to building trails in the woods and travelling around the UK to different skate parks and to riding dirt jumping competitions. My favourite memories from those days were the King of Dirt competitions. It was always an awesome atmosphere with riders going off to impress the judges. It's been great fun rummaging through this old content and to find clips of some legends of the mountain bike scene, like Ollie Wilkins, Sam Reynolds and Sam Pilgrim, otherwise known as Leopardhead back then. I love to see that these lads are still involved in the sport today and inspiring people to get out on their bikes.
Just get it in the nostril.
Cycling long distances never even occurred to me during those days. All I wanted to do was hang out with my mates, cause some havoc, learn new tricks and travel to find new riding spots. I've learnt so much by doing action sports. I'd set my mind on something and visualise it over and over again, before trying it again and again. Till all of a sudden, finally, it makes sense, and you find your flow. But sometimes the journey can be painful and things don't always go to plan.
Oh no!
I've definitely had my fair share of trips to A&E. There's so much value in doing these kind of sports, whether it's skateboarding, BMX, surfing, the list goes on. It's all on you and there's no one else to blame if you can't clear a jump or land a new trick. It teaches you resilience, to visualise a goal and to stop at nothing until you can look back at the footage and get stoked on landing it.
Yeah!
I firmly believe that the resilience formed through overcoming failures during sports can be transferred into everyday life. Before setting off on my trip around Europe, I met up with my mate Rich.
Got a Tesco's Traveller, don't go anywhere without a Tesco's bag.
We've known each other since school and we've always been on a similar riding level.
All about the Jaffas.
We wanted to squeeze in one last blast around the woods on our bikes before I left home, so we made our way to Rogate Bike Park.
Had these bad boys for 12 years. Look at the state of them. bike is riding me.
It was great to have my friend and well-respected filmmaker Remy Archer with us on the shoot. Be sure to check out his insane circus films over on his channel.
Maybe just a shot sort of through that bush as we're coming at you.
Good old cup of tea. It had been a while since I rode jumps that big, and I was just grateful that we'd had an awesome session without any injuries. I felt refreshed and energised and glad to get it out of my system before the adventure began. It suddenly dawned on me that I was going to have to try and document the entire trip on my own. So the next weekend I came up with an idea for how to film my ride from London to Brighton.
So this is it. I've got a Magic Arm clamp onto the top of the frame here, very nicely taped on the handle for the gimbal, which annoyingly has to be connected with this cable, but I've wrapped it around the handlebars and taken up some of the slack, so that's not too bad. And here we have the lovely Bodge Job phone holder, taken from a broken sucker pad holder for my car. And yeah, basically I've just finished putting that all together. It looks like an absolute monster. Very streamlined, obviously. I'm going to try this Lampart gimbal facing back towards me like this as I ride London to Brighton.
A few years ago I did a job at Central Hall here in Westminster, and I discovered this epic little parking spot right in the middle of central London, single yellow line. It's Sunday, 6:30 in the morning, no charges. Yes! Whew, it's chilly. Let's go. It didn't take long for my dodgy contraption to start playing up as it rattled around and wobbled loose. I found myself faffing around so much that I didn't even properly document the issues I was having. My phone flew out of the bodged windscreen mount and skidded down the road. Luckily it didn't smash to pieces, so I secured it back on with a piece of string. I was really going to have to cut out the faff and get a move on if I had any chance of covering some worthwhile distance before lunchtime. Welcome to the interlude. First of all, thanks for watching if you've made it this far, but also, while I give my porridge a quick zap, I wanted to let you know that I have a Patreon account. It's a platform where you have the opportunity to support me for as little as £1 a month to continue making this series. There are 5 different tiers that offer various perks for your support, and for the minimum donation you get early access to each episode. The money will go towards editing software, plugins, hard drives, camera equipment, music, everything I need to help produce the series. I appreciate your support and thanks for watching. Let's crack on with the episode. So it's been a pretty slow start, I have to admit. I'm just on the other side of Croydon. It's taken me about 2.5 hours to get here. I've suddenly realised how much of a faff it is trying to film everything. It's just stop and start. But I've got my chewy sweets, I've got my Jaffa cakes, and I'm gonna do it. The weather soon turned nasty and I came across a few road closures, so I had to make a couple of detours. It seemed as though all my common sense just buggered off at this point, as I followed Google Maps through muddy parks, up steep hills and along tiny back roads. All I wanted to do was stay on the road to get to Brighton. This is not really the route I expected to come. It is chucking it down. My makeshift Steadicam rig isn't really up to this. Everything's coming loose. I'm beginning to wonder whether I'm actually going to make it to Brighton or not. This is definitely not the right bike for this. I need a road bike. So I've been riding for about 3.5 hours now, and I've just done 20 miles. It's a pretty poor effort, but at the same time I've had a lot of faff with the cameras. I knew it was going to take a while, but I just didn't really know how long. Totally underestimated it, put it that way. Heading towards Warwick Wold. Sounds lovely. And yeah, it's been quite a nice little scenic route so far. Not that I wanted that, I just wanted to get to Brighton as quickly as possible, but never mind. Still very pretty. Quick Jaffa cake stop to admire the view. My Jaffa cakes are proper mashed up. Okay, it's definitely time to put the camera away for a bit. I'm going to get my head down, put some miles in, eyes on the road. I'm going to put the pedal to the metal. Well, that lasted about half an hour before I got totally distracted by a mound of mud. Got to be the worst way of conserving energy. A few miles down the road and I discovered another problem. To be honest, it's been a bit of a nightmare so far. I haven't made anywhere near as much distance as I'd hoped, and because of my makeshift phone holder with string holding the phone in place, now that the string's got wet and it's touching the screen, it's making it freak out, and I have no other way of holding it in place, no other way of actually knowing where to go. I'm just realising that I'm completely not equipped for this. I don't want to admit defeat yet. It would soon become apparent that I didn't have a choice. Well, I guess I'm at Gatwick then. Just 6 miles south of Gatwick, I hit the wall. I have got cramp in both legs so bad right now. I might have cramp, but I love Jaffa cakes. What do you even do? Does punching help it? Not an easy one to stretch out when both legs are doing it. I eventually managed to stand up and stretch out the cramps in my left leg, but my right leg was so much worse. I just couldn't get rid of the spasms. I'd experienced cramp before, but I'd never felt pain like that because of it. Look at it spasming. Look, I'm not doing that. So just when I thought I was making some good progress, I blame it on Google Maps taking me down all those off-road tracks when I didn't want to go down them. I wanted to stay on the road all the way, but it just kept taking me off down these little random windy tracks, and definitely took up a lot of my leg strength. I think this is game over. Oh, now I've got to try and make it to the train station. It's time to go home. So here's a story for the grandkids. Adam here is an absolute legend that has just picked me up in his van because I've been struggling with cramps so bad. I can't even make it to the train station. So this guy, absolute hero, is taking me to the train station, and I'm going to try and get back to Paddington without everyone else asking me if I need an ambulance or something like that. So let's see how that goes. Face of a man who failed. Maybe next time. As I dragged my sorry arse across Westminster Bridge and back to my car, I felt really gutted, and it was a serious wake-up call for me. I realised that day just how unfit I actually was. I was going to have to start training if I had any chance of cycling 10,000 kilometres around Europe. Dogs everywhere! I needed to start saving some money. I have an idea. My new partner in crime.
My legs are on fire!
This helmet saved my life.
Ow! I visualised myself just wasting away.
Pace yourself.